Well, folks, we have an update on the ICE incident. At first, is what was thought to have been happening at a Chicago elementary school, but it turns out that they were United States Secret Service agents from the field office over there, investigating a threat, but they were denied entry because of the school staff thinking that they were ICE agents, and because of their protocols. Why? Because of their protocols. We'll figure that out in today's video. This video is by NBC Chicago, Fox 5 Chicago, or NBC Chicago. There we go. The article is titled "Secret Service responded." The agency says amid reports of ICE encounter to Chicago school. And the article reads, despite earlier reports that ICE agents tried to enter a Chicago elementary school, the agency says it wasn't them. So what exactly happened? The U.S. Secret Service said that the encounter was actually agents conducting a, quote, protective intelligence investigation. A spokesperson for the Secret Service said the agency, quote, was investigating a threat to one of our protectees in reference to the recent TikTok ban. Quote, on Friday, special agents from the United States Secret Service Chicago field office were investigating a threat made against a government official to protect Anthony Guglielmi, I believe is how you say his last name, told NBC Chicago. Quote, in the course of their investigation, agents first visited a residence in a local neighborhood and then made a visit to Hamlin Elementary School. Agents identified themselves to the school principal and provided business cards with their contact information. The agents left without notice or without incident. The encounter was first reported Friday afternoon when Chicago Public Schools Chief Executive Officer said ICE agents appeared at Hamlin Elementary School in Chicago's back of the yards neighborhood. The agents did not enter the school and left a short time later, she said, without incident. That is how this all started. Quote, earlier today, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents showed up at Hamlin Elementary School. Chief Executive Officer Bogdana Chukomova, I believe is how you say that last name, said during a press conference at the school, quote, the school staff followed CPS established protocols. They kept ICE agents outside of the school and contacted CPS Law Department and CPS Office of Safety and Security for further guidance. The agents were not allowed into the school and were not permitted to speak to any students or staff members. Here is the bottom line: our students and staff are safe. Our protocols were followed. The school's principal said that the school would not open its doors for ICE unnecessarily. Quote, I am very grateful to all of our Hamlin staff here for upholding our protocols and ensuring the safety of our students. We will not be opening our doors for ICE, and we are here to protect our students and staff, and make sure they have access to an excellent education. We stand in solidarity with our family and with our families and the back of the yards community, Natasha Ortega said. A spokesperson for ICE later said, quote, this was not a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement encounter. Chicago police also said that they, quote, did not receive any calls for service at the location. The Cook County Sheriff's Office also denied any involvement. CPS CEO says agents showed credentials. In an interview with MSNBC shortly after the encounter, CPS CEO Pedro Martinez said the agents, quote, presented credentials and shared that they were from ICE, close quote. Quote, they showed credentials for my staff, Martinez said again after being informed of the ICE spokesperson's response. CPS later provided an update statement explaining the situation on Friday afternoon. Quote, earlier today, Chicago Public Schools leaders shared that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents showed up this morning, Friday, at Hamlin Elementary School after our district officials shared public statements. We learned that the agents who visited the school were from the U.S. Secret Service. Our original communication was a result of misunderstanding, reflective of the fear and concern in the community amid the new administration's focus on undocumented immigrants. Here's what happened. 2 individuals showed up at the school door and presented identification that includes the name Department of Homeland Security, which is the federal agency that oversees Immigration and Customs Enforcement. School officials proceeded to respond to the agents with the understanding that they were from ICE amid rumors and reports that the agency was in the community. Regardless of which branch of Homeland Security visited this school, officials showed the established protocols to ensure student safety. The agents were not allowed into the school or permitted to speak with staff or students. Hamlin administrators also worked with CPS Law Department and CPS Office of Safety and Security. The situation was handled with the federal agents leaving the campus without entry. So, in other words, the agents wound up leaving without incident. Well, this was a misunderstanding in terms of specific branch of Department of Homeland Security. The school's response demonstrates that our system, in partnership with community organizations, is prepared and ready to keep our students and staff safe. What else does the Secret Service do? According to the Department of Homeland Security, United States, Secret Service safeguards the nation's federal infrastructure and payment systems to preserve the integrity of economy and protects national leaders visiting heads of states and government designated sites and national special security events. Golgulame said the, quote, Secret Service does not investigate or enforce immigration matters. Quote, only investigations of a threat, he said. Schools alert. The incident comes amid heightened concerns in the immigration communities across Chicago though there has so far been no confirmation of raids. Schools across the Chicago area have released guidance about potential situations after the Trump administration revoked previous guidelines prohibiting immigration arrests at schools, churches, and hospitals. Trump came into office promising to undertake deportation operations and other crackdowns on immigration. Tom Homan, who is expected to be named Trump's border Caesar, has promised to, quote, knock down roadblocks put up by state law enforcement and said he intends to undertake deportation operations within Chicago and Illinois. Reports have surfaced over the weekend ahead of Trump's inauguration, stating ICE officials were planning a major enforcement operation that would target immigrants for several days, according to a document reviewed by the NBC News and a person familiar with the planning. The person who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the operation said multiple locations across Chicago will be targeted. Though the Chicago Public Schools did not immediately confirm the Hamlin school presence, the school district did put out a message to families earlier this week saying it planned to, quote, maintain its current policies and procedures to actively protect students and student staff and their families, quote. as CPS continues to receive more information about federal policy changes, CPS will continue to review our own protocols, and we will continue to provide the appropriate school-based staff guidance on how best to protect our students, staff, families, and school communities, quote. The school said in a statement while sharing its policies and guidelines. Trump officials says ICE arrests were made earlier in Chicago. A Trump administration official confirmed to NBC News that ICE arrests took place across the U.S., including in Illinois, Utah, California, Minnesota, New York, Florida, and Maryland. ICE was among the specific cities noted by the official as having confirmed arrests. According to this official, ICE made 538 arrests, 373 criminal arrests, and 165 non-criminal arrests throughout the U.S. on Thursday. NBC Chicago has not independently confirmed if any arrests took place in Chicago, and if so, where. Well, everyone, that is going to conclude it for this urgent breaking update of news today. If you did enjoy today's video, please consider giving it a like, a comment, and a share. Before I close out today's video, in case TikTok ever gets banned, I will have my other socials on posted down below in the video description, with other articles too. Thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.